That night, Violet drove home with a restless weight in her chest, the kind that seeps under your skin when something feels off, even if you can't name it. The Hamptons estate's winding driveway stretched ahead, flanked by dense hedges that cut the world away. When the electric gate clicked open, she let out a long sigh and steered the car inside, the sun dipping below the horizon in streaks of coral and gold. The day had been long, as it always was in the years she'd spent with Logan. She braced herself for the usual evening ritual: cold silence, fleeting glances, maybe a polite but hollow greeting, living under the same roof as a stranger who knew her name. But stepping inside, everything was different. The Hamptons estate, once a museum of frozen memories, seemed alive. Candles flickered on the dining table, their flames dancing beneath the lowered chandelier. Fine china, her wedding gift from nearly 20 years ago, long hidden in the attic, was carefully arranged, each piece catching the candlelight as if it had a story to tell. Then came the scent: fresh basil pasta simmering with garlic and olive oil. Her favorite. The dish Logan once made to impress her in the early days of their love. Before the fights, before the silence, before everything fell apart. Violet's brow furrowed as she tried to read the scene before her. And then she saw him. Logan leaned in the kitchen doorway, sleeves rolled to his elbows, a tentative smile on his lips. In his hand, a bottle of red wine, the same vintage she always requested for special dinners, back when romance still existed between them. "Good evening, Violet," he said softly, each word deliberate. "Sit down. I thought we deserved a different kind of night." Her heart skipped. Something in his posture, the curve of his smile, reminded her of the man she had fallen for, the man who made her laugh until she cried, who promised her the stars. But decades of instinct warned sharply, don't fall for it. Still, she walked to the table and sat gracefully, composed, acknowledging the invitation without expectation. Logan poured the wine with steady hands. "Remember when we celebrated the opening of our East End boutique?" he asked, fishing for a memory to anchor them. Violet offered a polite smile. "Yes. You brought me yellow tulips that night." He nodded, as if the memory mattered more than anything else. Sitting across from her, hands folded neatly, he radiated a calm that only sharpened her vigilance. Dinner began in silence. Violet tasted the pasta cautiously, eyes never leaving him. Then he spoke. "You know, I've been thinking, everything between us has become heavy." "Heavy?" she echoed evenly. "Yes," he leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You've changed, Violet. You're not the woman I married. Time has moved on for you, and I can't keep pretending." His words cut straight to her chest, but she didn't flinch. "And what exactly can't you pretend?" she asked softly. He chuckled, humorless. "I still desire you. I still admire you. But there's someone else, Nicole. Young, full of life. She makes me feel like I'm 20 again." Violet's hand rested firmly on her glass, unshaken, but a quiet ache throbbed inside, less from shock, more from the cruel precision of his timing. He had chosen this moment to wound her, to remind her of her place. "So that's why you set this up?" she asked, eyes sweeping the room. The candles, the perfect table, the painstakingly prepared dinner, a farewell banquet before discarding her. Logan shrugged. "No, not that. I just wanted you to understand I'm not the villain. I deserve something better, something new." She arched an eyebrow. "And all the years we spent together, Logan, what were they to you?" "Good at first," he said impatiently, "but everything changes. You changed too." For a moment, he thought he had achieved his goal. A tear, a scream, a visible sign of pain. Instead, she smiled faintly, knowingly, a curve he couldn't read. Calmly, she placed her napkin beside her plate. "Yes, Logan, I've changed. Just like you," she said. "Or are you going to claim time only moved for me?" He frowned, puzzled. Violet slid an envelope across the table with steady hands. "Here's what you've been searching for all this time, your freedom." Logan picked up the envelope, expecting routine. As he read the divorce papers, his expression shifted. Clauses, conditions, the division of the business they'd built. There was more than he anticipated. "Think you can scare me with this?" he asked, voice edged with arrogance. Violet shrugged serenely. "I don't need to scare you. I just want what's mine." He signed without reading carefully, or pretended not to care, believing he was winning. Leaning back, arms crossed, he exuded smug satisfaction. "All right," he said, feigning patience. "You have what you wanted. Can't say I was unfair." But Violet remained calm, composed. Hands folded on the table, she radiated a storm beneath the surface, a lifetime of memories and resolutions swirling in her mind. For years, Logan had dictated the marriage, her space, the tone. Now the balance had shifted, and he hadn't realized it. With deliberate grace, she gathered the papers, meeting his gaze with unwavering strength. "No, Logan," she said quietly, steady. "You were never fair. Not then, not now. But justice has a funny way of arriving when you least expect it." He laughed dryly, pushed back his chair, and walked away. "Maybe that's what you needed, Violet. I woke up a long time ago. Now it's my turn to be happy." The words sounded hollow, even to him. He grabbed his phone, typing frantically, as if the world were collapsing. Violet watched, still seated, eyes tracking every movement. No pleading, no sorrow, only certainty. By signing those papers, Logan had freed her from the cage that had confined her for years. Tracing the rim of her glass, she said casually, "The shares are divided 50% for me and 10% for Jackson and Savannah. Thought you'd like to know." He spun, stunned, realizing the papers meant more than a simple divorce. 10% for the kids?" he asked, brow furrowed. "They don't need it now." "I'll take care of them," she said softly. "You took care of them, Logan. Now, they take care of themselves." She spoke plainly. She was no longer under his control. "You think this gives you power over me? That having rights to the company matters? Don't fool yourself, Violet. Half of something I run is still just half." Violet stood, pushed her chair back, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear with effortless poise. "I'm not after your power," she said. "I'm after my peace," she added. "And my peace is worth every signature you just gave." He froze. For years, he'd been with a woman who bent to his moods, his rules, his approval. Now she was someone else, a woman who no longer waited for it. That stung more than he could admit. Violet strode toward the door with confident steps. At the threshold, she turned once. "Good luck, Logan. I hope Nicole gives you everything you think you deserve." Without waiting for a response, she crossed the hall. Each step echoed in his chest. The door closed behind her with a soft, definitive click. Quiet, final, perfect. She didn't need drama. Silence was enough. Logan was left alone in the suddenly cold house, the aroma of uneaten dinner lingering. He looked at the set table, the half-full bottle, the untouched glass, and for the first time felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest. Not lost love, not regret, but a quiet awareness that the one freed that night wasn't him. The next morning, sunlight gilded the trees lining the quiet street, as if the world itself were celebrating Violet's newfound freedom. Logan ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, adjusted his sunglasses, and let a self-satisfied grin spread across his face. Free, he thought, free of Violet, of the Hamptons estate he could no longer stand, free of a marriage that, in his version of the story, had suffocated him. Next to him, Nicole scrolled through her phone, fingers flying over the screen with practiced ease. "This light is perfect for a photo," she said, voice sugary, betraying the eagerness beneath the polished tone. "Let's do it," Logan replied, shrugging off his navy blazer. He posed casually beside the rented Camaro, one leg crossed, expression a mix of triumph and ease. Nicole snapped a few pictures, eyes sparkling. "Perfect," she said. Minutes later, he posted one online, reborn with someone who knows how to live. No past, no chains. Notifications poured in, hearts, applause emojis, fireworks, and he savored each alert like a trophy. "Your cousin Finn commented," Nicole noted, nodding toward the screen. Logan frowned at the message. "What a shame to see you acting like a teenager. Hope you know what you're doing." A flicker of doubt crossed his grin, but he brushed it off. "Envy," he muttered. "Or honesty," Nicole teased, raising an eyebrow. He ignored her, as always, and shared the photo with the family group chat, finally found happiness. "Meet Nicole, the woman who made me believe again." Pocketing his phone, He leaned down to kiss her forehead. "Let's celebrate," he said, revving the Camaro's engine for effect. They rattled on about new business ventures while Nicole nodded along, occasionally chiming in, her own phone buzzing with family reactions, some critical, some disappointed. But Logan remained untouched. By early afternoon, they arrived at the Shoreline Bistro Terrace, an upscale restaurant overlooking the sparkling waves. Logan greeted the maitre like an old friend, requested the best terrace table, and ordered the priciest wine without hesitation. Nicole's smile was flawless, hiding everything beneath its perfection. "You know they won't forgive you, right?" she murmured, resting her chin on her hand. Logan sliced his steak without looking up. "I never needed their forgiveness." Her gaze drifted to the street below, a flicker of concern passing through her eyes. "Maybe you need it more than you think." They toasted to his new life. The phone on the table buzzed incessantly, messages from a family who no longer celebrated him. But he ignored them all. "They're probably busy," he muttered, convincing himself. As night fell, he booked the Lexington Hotel suite, drew a bubble bath for Nicole, and had champagne delivered. On the terrace, cigar in one hand, glass in the other, he snapped a photo of their toast. Nothing compares to this feeling of freedom. A fleeting doubt passed, but he posted it anyway, sealing his self-declared new life. Meanwhile, Violet sat in her home and Haven office, her wedding ring now meaningless, spinning lazily on the polished desk. Papers, transactions, and beneficiary lists lay neatly before her, organized but cold. Certain emails caught her eye. Nicole, the public symbol of Logan's freedom, was no innocent. She was a strategist, a player, and she played dirty. Jackson leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, silently watching his mother. "I never wanted him to see this," he muttered bitterly, a tone Violet knew all too well. He picked up one of the papers, scanning it carefully. At the bottom, the name Dylan Rogers appeared. "What does this guy have to do with Nicole, Mom?" Violet looked up, steady and firm. "He works at your dad's company. He's the finance manager, and he's also his lover." The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Jackson closed his eyes, slowly nodding, acknowledging what he had long suspected. Savannah burst into the office, phone in hand. "He just posted another photo," she exclaimed, showing the screen Logan and Nicole at the Shoreline Bistro, toasting with perfect smiles. The caption read, "Life is now. Don't waste time with someone who doesn't value you." Savannah scoffed, anger flashing, though sadness lingered beneath it. Violet remained calm. "He won't listen, not yet. He'll understand at the right moment." Across town, Logan sat at an informal meeting with Nicole and Dylan on the Seaview Cafe terrace. The humid afternoon pressed down as Logan animatedly outlined expansion plans, hands flying. Nicole listened with a faint, knowing smile, already anticipating how things would unfold. "Leo, what if we open that branch in Barcelona?" she suggested, toying with her straw. "We could spend some time there. I love the weather." "Barcelona sounds perfect," he said, grinning. Turning to Dylan, he added, "Run a feasibility study. I want the numbers on my desk in a week." Dylan smiled politely, professional, but cold. Logan didn't notice the small sums being funneled to accounts under shell company names, all using his trusted e-signature. Nicole kept him distracted with gentle touches, soft caresses, playful smiles, while the plan unfolded seamlessly behind the scenes. "You trust him too much," Nicole whispered, tracing a finger across his hand. "He's my right-hand man," Logan replied, oblivious. "Violet hired him years ago, you know." "Really? How interesting," Nicole said, voice dripping with faux surprise. Logan, blinded by charm and ambition, missed the sarcasm entirely. Back at the Hamptons estate, Jackson and Savannah confronted their father once more. They found him in his office, reviewing reports he had already manipulated. "Dad, we need to talk," Jackson said, stepping in. Savannah followed, tense. Logan glanced up, annoyance flashing. "If this is about your mother, I don't care." "It's not about Mom," Jackson said. "It's about Nicole." Logan set down his pen, arms crossed. "Oh, now you're attacking her too? How original." Savannah placed her phone on the desk, playing an audio clip, Nicole's confident voice explaining how easily she could convince Logan to transfer money. Logan stiffened but laughed dryly. This is a setup. You really think I'd fall for gossip? Everyone's just jealous, wanting to see me fail. Jackson tried to reason, but Logan waved them out. Savannah left, holding back tears. Jackson lingered, fists clenched. He's going to regret this, he muttered, slamming the door. That night, Nicole stroked Logan's hair as he rested on her lap, exhausted. They don't understand you, love. But I do, she whispered. Logan closed his eyes, trusting her completely. Her phone buzzed. A message from Dylan confirmed everything was ready. She replied with a thumbs-up emoji. The plan was in motion, and Logan, proud and blind, walked straight into his own ruin. The night was perfect for indulgence. Clear skies, city lights sparkling below the Manhattan loft terrace. A central table held an open bottle of French champagne, soft jazz mingled with the clinking of glasses. Logan, linen shirt unbuttoned at the chest, dark tailored pants, held a glass in one hand while stroking Nicole's legs with the other. We deserve this, love, he said. I've waited my whole life for someone to complete me. Nicole laughed softly. You deserve so much more, and you're going to have it all. She refilled his glass carefully, kissing his neck while discreetly slipping her fingers into the pocket holding his phone and tablet. Let's plan tomorrow, she murmured. I want to see that private island you mentioned. Logan smiled, slightly dazed. Nicole guided his hand as he confirmed the electronic signature, millions transferred to an account he didn't question. She kissed his forehead and rose. I feel strange, he whispered. Just tired, she said, adjusting her dress strap. She grabbed her bag and messaged Dylan. All set. Darkness swallowed him. The closing door was the last sound he heard. The first rays of sunlight revealed an empty apartment. Logan stumbled through it, closets bare, no notes, nothing. He grabbed his phone. Alerts flooded in, bank notifications, approved transfers, main account frozen. No way, he muttered, opening his laptop. Every account empty, investments liquidated, balance zero. He hurled the laptop against the wall, staggering to the terrace. The city carried on. He scrolled to the family chat. No replies, just Jackson's good luck. 2 words like a verdict. The night before had been a cruel illusion. Logan was alone, defeated, stripped of the pride that had once been his armor. Meanwhile, Violet breathed in the fresh morning air at Garden View House. Sunlight spilled across the garden, mingling with the scent of freshly brewed coffee and jasmine. Jackson and Savannah laughed on the terrace. Their joy alone was enough. Mama, Savannah called. Jackson says we can remodel the old studio before next month. Violet smiled, resting a hand on her daughter's shoulder. He's optimistic. If he says it can be done, let's trust him. The old studio haven had been locked away for years, a quiet relic of Violet's dreams before marriage and motherhood consumed her. Now, the studio had been reborn. Freshly painted door, new windows opening onto the garden, the faint scent of fresh paint mingling with warm wood. Canvases leaned against the walls, brushes clinked in glass jars, and sketches were scattered across the large, sturdy table. I want the collection inspired by the garden flowers, Violet said, picking up a drawing of embroidered cushions adorned with lilies and magnolias. She traced the delicate petals with her finger, imagining them coming to life in thread and fabric. You'll sell out in the first month, Jackson said confidently. Violet didn't voice her thoughts aloud, but she believed him, not for money, but because this project carried the pure, unfiltered joy of creating something entirely her own, free from judgment or approval. One quiet afternoon, Violet climbed into the attic and unearthed an old photo album. Pages filled with memories, her early days with Logan, smiling at the camera, then with young Jackson and newborn Savannah nestled in their arms. She lingered on each photograph, letting the memories wash over her, not with pain or regret, but with understanding. She closed the album carefully and set it aside. The past was its own place, and she no longer needed to carry it. Logan never reached out again, and she knew exactly what she would have done if he had. Nothing. He was simply an absence that no longer stung. A month later, Violet launched her online store, Home and Haven. The name felt natural. It captured the comfort, pride, and joy she felt with every confirmed order, every glowing comment from a happy customer. Her first sale, a hand-embroidered floral cushion, felt more than a transaction. "I'll send a sample with a note," she told Savannah, carefully writing in her flowing script, "Made with hope. May it bring peace to the recipient." When the first customer sent a photo of the cushion in their sunlit living room, Violet felt a thrill surge through her chest. This was no longer about selling. It was about being seen, and even more importantly, about seeing herself again. Her mornings settled into a gentle rhythm, watering plants, checking orders, sketching new designs, and sharing simple meals with her children. She wandered through the local farmers market, exchanging friendly nods with neighbors she had once only smiled at politely. Quiet moments in the town square allowed her to watch life move at its own pace, each observation reinforcing the freedom she had fought to reclaim. One chilly evening, Jackson appeared on the terrace with a quiet announcement. "Dad sold his last car," he said casually, "and now he lives in a modern apartment downtown." Violet only nodded, offering him a cup of tea. There was no triumph, no contempt, just acceptance. He made his choices. "Now he'll have to learn from them," she said softly. Wrapped in a warm blanket on the terrace, Violet gazed up at the stars above the Hamptons estate, the crisp night air tingling against her skin. She was tired, yes, but the good kind of tired. The fatigue that comes after honest work, after genuine, unpressured joy. She breathed deeply, savoring the peace that had once felt impossible, finally fully herself at last. A year passed, and the consequences of deceit finally caught up with those who had sought to manipulate and betray. Nicole and Dylan Rogers were discovered living abroad under false identities. Authorities traced their illegal transfers and forged documents, and both were sentenced to prison for fraud and money laundering. Most of the stolen fortune remained hidden, irretrievable, but Logan and his lawyers recovered a symbolic portion. Justice had been served, though the deeper lesson went far beyond money. Sometimes, the world collapses. People betray you. The ground you trusted crumbles beneath your feet, and everything familiar shifts. But a quiet strength emerges when you realize you no longer need anyone's approval or validation. Starting over is no longer punishment. It becomes an opportunity. Life doesn't demand speed. It asks only for courage, the patience to take one deliberate step at a time. And when peace finally comes, it does not announce itself with fanfare. It simply exists, settling around you like sunlight on a garden. In that moment, you understand fully. Your worth never depended on those who failed to see it. You just heard this one from Stories by Sue. If it resonated, don't forget to like and subscribe. What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments. I'd love to hear. Thanks for watching.